welcome to stage 9 of the 2011 Personnel Dakar, Argentina, Chile, and it's a massive start, traditional style. In the cars, plenty of action once more, Volkswagen fighting it out for rally victory. And also problems in the truck section. The man trying to beat the big Kamaz team having issues. One of the biggest stories of yesterday, which happened just after we fed, was this. Stefan Peder-Hansel had been suffering for days with punctures, but yesterday it was engine problems, overheating in his X3 after pushing very hard. He managed to fix it, but an hour down. Big problems also for Jordi Villadoms. He crashed his bike, damaging the front end of it. All his GPS was hanging off, and then that caused an electrical fire, and he had to be towed in by Antonio Gimeno for the last hour. He only lost 2 though. That is the most expensive observatory in the world out here in Chile. And these are some of the most expensive machines in off-road rallying. The landscape very much like the moon, used of course in Quantum of Solace. And there's some serious stunts going on with the bikers as well. The characteristics of the desert around here is the very, very soft sand. And one moment it can be hard, the next moment super soft. That's been catching a lot of people out, especially the unexperienced. This is Emilio Spartago, the Argentinian, driving his McRae. One-seater, you can see he has to do everything himself. Those cars powered by snowmobile engines for good low-down torque, and now are designed for Dakar spec. There's 7 of them in the rally, and they're having a great time. We'll meet the leader of that in just a moment. There was another big story of the day. Leader in the truck section, Firdis Kabarov. The Kamaz team told us that he was going to the toilet, and that was his problem. Well, this doesn't look like that. A whole half an hour lost going to the toilet. He was eventually helped by Nikolaev and back on the road. Potential engine problems, we think. The man we met yesterday, Alessandro Salazar, successful circuit racer, 89th last year. At the moment, his best results 32nd yesterday. By nightfall, only 24 cars, 94 bikes and 14 trucks had arrived, less than half of the starters. Yet again, a very hard day for the Dakar contenders. And it was nightfall where we learnt the fate of the quad section. Thomas Maffei, a star in the early running, he had problems, losing well over 2 hours. With the camaraderie of everyone, I made it. It's all beginning at the 23 kilometer mark, and now we're at 500 kilometers. It was a very long day, but I was helped by many, and I'm very grateful. See you later. Stage 9 once again plunges into the heavy Atacama Desert. Over 200 kilometer stage, there'll be rarely a chance to breathe from the relentless thick dunes. Most of the four-wheel machines have struggled in this area, and expect today to be no different. Just 235 kilometers, cars slightly shorter. This is the site of both drama and also joy. Cape Hope, the mine that trapped 33 miners 200 kilometres down in the earth. It's just 50 kilometres from the bivouac here in Copiapó, and the miners will visit the bivouac later on this afternoon. It was also the site of a traditional Dakar start. This is how they used to do it back in the old days. The front 10 bikes were initially released and then groups of 20 followed. Some of the quicker competitors like David Castor had to start in the second and third groups after problems on yesterday's stage. In some ways that would be a good thing. Castor was able to make up some good time, but also he had plenty of traffic to pass in the early stages. Remember, gearbox problems have really befallen him. The top 10 from yesterday then kicked off proceedings. And it was Helder Rodriguez who initially took the lead of the stage, followed by Cyril Desprez and his teammate Ruben Faria. Zaviedo was another man in the top 10 yesterday. He was a 7th position, but soon enough they found some difficulties. Got to the top of a mound, decided they were going the wrong way, and they turned back. At that point, the rest of the top 10 decided Helder Rodriguez was not doing the right thing, but he was. Nervously looking around to see where his other 9 competitors were, Rodriguez had developed a 4-minute lead and was absolutely flying on the Yamaha. Being on his own though would prove to be his downfall later on. Coma and Desprez stuck together like glue. They've been like this for the last couple of days, and it's to the advantage really of Marc Coma, because of course there is that 9-minute deficit that Desprez needs to make up. All that he needs to do, Coma, is to match Desprez's speed. Lopez has got to do a bit more than that if he wants a good chance at rally victory. So Rodriguez out in front made a wrong turn, and having done that, lost fuel in his bike. Disappointment for the Portuguese rider, because it would have been a very good day and really helped his chances of rally victory. That of course was his ambition at the start of the rally.
How far we got?
Yes, it's 3 kilometers.
Yeah, mate.
Just 3 kilometres from the finish. Helder Rodriguez stumbles across Australian Jacob Smith.
Après 10 km ici, on a perdu 18 km et la benzine c'est fini.
Having sapped a few litres out of Jacob's bike, he managed to finally get it kick-started, and he was off once more. Only a few kilometres left of the stage, but he'd lose nearly an hour. Also taking advantage was Juan Carlos Salvatierra, the Bolivian who rides with 176, was 14th today. He led CP1 after his superior speed. This is another man who took full advantage. Jonas Street started in the third wave, pushed very hard early on to catch the waves ahead of him, and then that meant that he was going to be fastest. He took victory by 3 minutes and 38 seconds ahead of this man, Frans Verhoeven. Verhoeven had a crash just a few kilometres up the road from where his teammate damaged his collarbone yesterday. He had to start further back, as did Castor after his gearbox problems on his Sherco. You see, it was good to have problems yesterday for today's stage. There is Juan Carlos riding with David Castor. And that was why he eventually managed 14th. Another man who took advantage early on that we haven't really heard too much about was this man, Daniel Guet, the Chilean, on the Honda. He was 6th today. Charles Ferraz, the Spanish rider on the Aprilia, racing with the Geophil team. He was 4th. He had problems yesterday with the fuel tank at his trip. That down and lost 1 hour, but a good result for him today. Villodom's 5th spot. And in the quads, Cacciarelli is now unchallenged. Problems for his other rivals. So here is the rather confusing result of stage 9. Street ahead of Verhoeven, Castor 3rd, Fares in 4th, and Villodoms, after problems yesterday, gets a good old 5th spot. No changes in the overall rankings though, 8 minutes between Coma and Dupre at the front.
Oh, not the last sand dunes, but the second to last sand dunes had, I think there was only 3 bikes in front of me. Went over the bars hard in the sand, just totally unannounced, just bike starts. But I was fine, it was in the sand. It got back up and just followed him in, because I figured I started 2 waves behind him. I was doing all right.
Nou, we waren met z'n allen op één rij en we hadden de tweede groep start.
Verhoeven says for a group start today, I like motocross, so I wasn't really stressed about being with other riders. I attacked from the start, and some of the 690s were in front of me, and in an uphill, I was able to pass them. We started in a line, but quickly Helder Rodriguez took the lead. He did choose a small wrong direction, and all of us followed him, all 10 of us. After that we did a U-turn all together and we got back on track, found the second wave of starters, and then we stayed all together in the dust.
Plutôt pas mal, on a roulé un peu tous dans la poussière, une étape un peu bizarre quand même.
It was a very bizarre stage. This is the real story of the Dakar, an adventure, a man, a bike and a box.
Good! This most spectacular crash.
Was the helicopter was filming.
Yeah, of course.
Just 10 Malmotos began, and now 5 remain. It was nearly 4 for our guide.
This is mal. This is moto. This is mal moto. So, in French, they are calling box mal. So, this is our life here. My bike is over there. So, we have everything in this box: spare parts, oil, tent, sleeping bag, whatever you think for life. After the race, we have them all in the box. I'll say because of friendship. First of all, for friendship. Second, I want to live Dakar in this way. Anytime, if we get some friends from Malmoto very late at night, this is something emotional for us. And we are waiting for him, or we are helping him all night long to make him ready. Dakar is a real adventure. It's something else than the other races. This is not a race, I will say. So it's a real adventure with you, with yourself. This is a race with yourself in mental way or in physical way. This is why I am here.